Hey, I noticed something.
What?
You know, throughout all of last season, we never once talked about video games.
Wait, didn't Seth do a segment where he talked about some RPG that he played?
Okay, so throughout all of last season, nobody important talked about video games.
Huh. I guess you're right. Did you want to amend that and talk about video games today?
Hell, yes, I do. I would love to talk about video games so much. There's so much there. Call of Duty Zombies, Nintendo is coming out with the Switch 2, Marvel Rivals is a thing, Fortnite is still around, you know. They did Godzilla and Transformers and Indiana Jones and the Terminator and the T-1000 and the Predator, and they also did Batman and Superman and the Flash at one time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BSU The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news network. I'm your host, Milo.
And I'm Chris. And video games are a thing we don't talk about nearly enough on this show, especially considering what a unique form of entertainment media it really is.
How so?
It's interactive. I mean, instead of being some random Joe Schmo on the sidelines, you're the one in charge of the game.
Don't choose your own adventure books do the exact same thing?
Yeah, but they aren't doing it in a visual format.
What if they have pictures?
Well, it's not really the same thing as an animated tale that can either be a super cartoonish and goofy game like with Nintendo and Sega, or a hyper-realistic like movie, like interactive like Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica Studios.
I guess, but I still think it's kind of reductive to leave books out of this discussion. They're trying their best, you know? It's not their fault that they have a limited, selection in their medium.
Fine. Choose your own adventure books are cool. Plus, a shocking amount of indie horror game franchises spawn books nowadays, so I guess there's barely a line between the two. Any Hoosers, though, games are cool, and I think we should talk about them.
Chris, I already agreed to doing that in the cold opening. You don't have to justify it to me. I mean, look at me. I'm a gamer.
Great. Then we can cut to the first segment, and then we can talk about the game I'm most hyped about this year, and then we can do the same for you after.
Sounds good to me. Cut to the first segment.
Hello, Isaac Schooners. It's Seth, and I'm here to talk about a game that I sunk over 40 hours into last week. Pokemon Fire Red version, released in 2004. Jesus, this game is the same age as I am. Anyway, this is a remake of the original Pokemon Red, released in 1996, and was released for the Game Boy Advance. For those who lived under a rock or just had parents who hated Nintendo so much that they barred you from ever even learning about the existence, Pokemon Fire Red is a dungeon-crawling JRPG where you and your superpowered pets beat the ever-loving shit out of everyone else's pets. Admittedly, that's a bit of an oversimplification, but explaining the intricacies of a 16-bit video game for 10-year-olds is not something I want to do. Which, by the way, if you think about it, the premise of this game is absolute lunacy. Like, hey, congratulations, you've turned 10. You know what that means? Pick one of these 3 pets and go become the strongest person in your region. Your choices are a fire-breathing dragon, a turtle with 2 cannons built into its shell, and a dinosaur that uses photosynthesis to shoot lasers. Take your pick! In fact, a lot of the logic in Pokemon world seems idiotic at best and downright psychopathic at worst. You win money every time you beat another Pokemon trainer in the world. Like, what is that? Are they giving you money out of respect? Did you bet on it? Are you mugging them? Like, what's the deal there? Or, how about Pokeballs? Yeah, if you didn't know, Pokemon are stored in spheres, so small you can carry 6 in your pockets at all times. How in the hell does that work? What kind of backwards technology allows you to turn any Pokemon, and I do mean any, you can catch the Pokemon equivalent of God in a Pokeball and turn that organic matter into a binary code and then store it in an orb carried by a child. And to add insult to injury, after you pass 6 Pokemon caught, all Pokemon that you catch are stored in a computer. What? Sorry, it's just like I just like overanalyzing things. It's one of the many reasons that I'm still single. But that's gonna do it for me. See you all next time.
Chris, why are you wearing a bandana?
I'm not Solid Snake.
Okay, I never said you were. Is this somehow related to a game you wanted to talk about? Not Solid Snake?
I am Naked Snake.
I'm sorry, keep going. You're doing great, Naked Snake.
As I was saying, I'm Naked Snake, the big boss, the man who sold the world, Ishmael, or just Jack. And the game I've chosen to talk about is coming back this year, the re-release of Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. It's titled MGS Delta.
Are you trying to sound cool? Because you really just sound like a guy who smoked a pack of cigarettes a day and is suffering from black lung.
Fine, I'll stop doing the voice, but I still want to talk about the game.
I mean, you can. I just rather hear, Chris's voice than a dying lung cancer patient.
All right, I get it. All right, no voice. We all have our hobbies.
And yours is sounding like a chain smoker?
Can I please just talk about the game?
Yep, sure. Go nuts. 2000s action movie trailer guy. Okay, last one. I swear, that was the last joke I'm gonna do. Say your piece.
Okay. Yay. All right, so a little backstory. MGS3 was originally a prequel that tells the origin story of the father of the main character, Solid Snake, Big Boss. Among many other names, he goes by Naked Snake, John, or just Jack. It's in the 60s, right? Espionage is all the rage. Snake is sent in on a mission into the Soviet Union to extract a turncoat scientist. Shenanigans ensue, and you get to play the tactical espionage action the original game originally wanted you to play. It came out in 2004 for the PS2 and has actually aged quite well. But there's some corporate drama going on with the series, and it's like on indefinite hiatus now. So the folks at Konami decided to completely rebuild the old game for modern day. Similar to like the Final Fantasy remake from a few years ago, this game covers all the same narrative beats, but it's not just an HD remaster. It's a totally new, and it's like, personally, I think it's great.
When does it come out?
2025, tentatively.
Tentatively. That is a word that you said, tentatively. And it means something.
Milo, if you don't know what the word means, you can just ask.
No, I can do this. I just need to use context clues. Don't tell me. It means within a year.
All right, I think it's time we cut to the next segment, all right? And then we'll be back with more games that we want to rant about.
Wait, was I close, Chris? Chrissy, was I close?
Hello, Gooners. Towards the end of last year, Robert Eggers released his fourth movie and first remake of his career, Nosferatu. As many of our viewers know, Robert Eggers is a modern horror director who consistently puts out banger after banger. The Witch, The Lighthouse, The Northman, all bangers, and Nosferatu is no exception. Now, what our audience may not know is that before he made his way to the big screen, Robert Eggers made a solid run of short films that are all great in their own right, especially The Telltale Heart from 2008. Transition, which will be the subject of today's segment. So unless you've never taken a high school English class in your life, you are probably familiar with his story. But if not, basically this caretaker is supposed to be taking care of this old man, but one day he goes crazy, kills the old guy, hides his body beneath the floorboards, and when the cops come to investigate, he ends up confessing after hearing the old man's heart beating from underneath the floor. Now, how does Robert Eggers adapt this spooky tale? Almost exactly beat for beat from the original story. I guess it isn't a surprise that the guy who's freakishly obsessed with recreating old time periods as accurately as possible would want to adapt this old-ass story as accurately as possible. Usually I'm not a fan when movies or films are too much like the original story they're based on, because it makes it so that if you watch the movie first, reading the book feels like a slog, and if you read the book first, watch the movie just feels like a really dumbed down version. It worked here though, because honestly, if you start the film and start reading the poem at the same time, you have a pretty good chance of finishing them both around the same time. So yeah, the commitment to the story works out in this case. Obviously, the story feels very accurate to when it takes place. Old house, era-appropriate clothing, all that is great. However, the most interesting thing about this movie is the puppet that they use to play the old man. Like, it looks good from a technical level, but it also doesn't look like a person at all, so it kept kind of reminding me of the Muppet Christmas Carol. Overall, it was a great film, and I would give it a 4.5 Isaac stars on the Isaac Star rating system, which is something I'm doing now, and if you don't like it, shut up. I don't come down to Burger King to tell you how to do your job.
All right, Milo, what fresh hell of a video game do you want to talk about?
Fresh hell? You say that like my choice is gonna be some weird niche choice that only people in some dark corner of the internet would have heard or, care about.
You know what? You're right. I shouldn't judge. So, I'll ask again, but nicer this time. What game are you excited for this year?
It's this game called Date Everything where I get a maid with a trash can.
Oh boy.
Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff here I want to say about. But yeah, the basic premise is that this chick is giving these glasses that when she puts them on and then looks at a certain object, they turn into people that she can't date. And they all have funny names that are puns based off what object they are, like a sink named Sinclair. Like a sink named Sinclair. You get it. It's like a play on the...
That's why Jeremiah is dead, Milo.
Oh.
This is why.
Okay, well, I think it's silly and funny and cute and silly. There's like 100 characters to choose from, and the voice acting. Oh, I'm so excited for the voice acting. And get this, it's made by so many artists and it has zero AI. It's just great. It's wonderful. Yippee!
Milo, it's a video game. There can't be zero AI.
You know what I meant.
Are you sure that you're not just excited about this game because it's almost that stupid Hallmark holiday and you're just single and love deprived?
Hey!
Oh, trust me. I know I'm not one to talk. Chances are my bloodline dies with me. But you gotta admit, this was a weird pick.
Your face is a weird pick.
What?
Cut to the next segment. I'm out of here.
Welcome back to BSU Real Deal Real History. I'm Jeremiah Envoy, and today we're picking up where we left off, the story of Romulus and the early days of Rome. After founding the city in 753 BCE, Romulus became its first king, but Rome didn't start as the mighty empire we know today. It was a small, vulnerable settlement in need of people, alliances, and structure. To grow the population, Romulus made Rome a haven for outcasts and exiles, welcoming anyone willing to join his new city. But this influx of men created a problem: the lack of women. Romulus addressed this in a bold and controversial way: the taking of the Sabine women. At a festival celebrating Neptune, Romulus and his men abducted women from the neighboring Sabine tribe, offering them marriage and role in Rome's future. This sparked a war between the Sabines and led King Titus Tatius. Despite the conflict, the women themselves intervened, convincing their new husbands and fathers to make peace. This act of unity not only ended the fighting, but also led to the merging of Romans and Sabines into one community, a major step in Rome's growth. Under Romulus's reign, Rome began to expand its territory and established its social and political structures. But the city's early history wasn't without controversy, conflict, or legend after all. Romulus's story ends with mystery, as he is said to have vanished in a storm, believed by some to have been taken by the gods, while a more realistic version probably follows the same pattern of Julius Caesar. Anyways, this has been BSU Real Deal Real History. Next week we'll dive into the reigns of Rome's other kings, exploring how this small settlement transformed into the powerful kingdom. This has been Jeremiah Envoy, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, so originally we were planning to talk about what your predictions are for Game of the Year and stuff, but apparently it's too early in the year to call it yet. So instead, our head writer Seth is forcing us to talk about all the games that he's hyped for. Yay!
Do we really have to do that?
I mean, probably not, but screw it. Let's rip this Band-Aid off. All right, first we have... You want to take a crack at this name?
Not even a little bit.
Okay. Ghosts of Yote is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, an action RPG where you play as a samurai that has to learn how to become a ninja and folklore figure in order to repel the Mongol Empire that's invading his home.
Sadly, this game has gotten into a bit of controversy because the gaming community is full of rug-wearing misogynists that got pissed about having to play a girl. They cite, oh god, these are big words, historical inaccuracy as the reason, but come on, man. That's not why people like Asmongold are pissed, you know?
It's because of fragile masculinity and blatant sexism. Next up, Doom, the Dark Ages. That's right, Bethesda has come to the conclusion that the only way to make the Doomslayer even more badass than he already was to give him a cape and buzzsaw shield.
And also a mother-loving dragon!
Yeah, that too. The game is the third installment in the modern Doom franchise, or as I like to call it, the most Christian game to ever exist. Seriously, it's more holy than, becoming so good at demon slaying that the denizens of hell itself are actually terrified of you and you alone.
In my headcanon, the dragon's name is Fluffles.
Well, in actual canon, the reason that the Doomslayer hunts demons is because they killed his pet bunny, Daisy. So that might not be as far off as you think it is.
Those bastards.
And lastly, we have Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Wait, really?
God, no, Seth pretends to have more self-respect than that. Instead, the last game we're going to talk about, our lovely head writer is hyped about Jurassic Park Survival.
I'm not saying any of those dinosaur names. You can't make me. Nope.
He won't. Probably. Anyway, Jurassic Park Survival is a new action-adventure survival game about a technician that gets trapped on Isla Nublar after the events of the first movie and having to, survive. And probably also escape, too.
Fine. You convinced me. I'll say one dinosaur name.
I never actually said anything about that.
It's okay. Lay it on me.
Okay, then, say that. Just keep scrolling, guys.
No, I got it.
Good job, Milo.
So did I pronounce it right?
Any Hoosers, that's going to do it for today's episode. But first, our final words.
For my final words, I shall list down stuff that smells good to me that should be edible. Number 1, gasoline. It smells good and strong. Comes from the earth just like normal edible foods. It is strong but should be drinking. Number 2, Sharpie. Strong, hits different in the nose. It should be eaten like candy or chewed like bubblegum. Yeah, bubblegum. Number 3, paper. It depends on the paper, but some smell good. Some smell really nasty like an old grandma. Paper really doesn't have a smell to it, but it would be interesting to taste the thinned out wood we call paper. I feel like it would be a good dessert topper, like confetti on a confetti cake. Number 4, nail polish. I wish I could apply it to my pretty little nails and then lick them up. Or at least use them kind of like icing. They have a strong but not too strong smell, so it would be interesting to eat. And finally, number 5, duct tape. I can't explain this one, but it has a weird adhesive smell to it, and it would probably most likely taste like some sort of like animal skin, in a sense, like pig skin. Yeah, they probably like pig skin. So that was my top 5 things I wish were edible but aren't. Comment down what you think should be edible that you think smells really good. Yeah, I really want to drink gasoline. Gasoline and Red Bull are the same thing.
Hello, viewers. I wanted to use these final words to stick with the video game theme and talk about a gripe I have. I have a routine, okay? I wake up in the morning, I make my coffee, I brush my teeth, check YouTube and the news for like what nightmares could possibly have happened while I was asleep, and then I do the most important thing in my morning. I play the daily Wordle. Now, I do not have a problem with the Wordle itself. I like keeping an open mind and adding new words to my vocabulary. However, there is one critical flaw with the game that almost always costs me my streak. Double letters. Why is it that there are yellow for letters that are in the word but in the wrong spot, and green for letters in the correct spot, but there is nothing hinting that a word could have multiple locations for a letter? I mean, seriously, it's the only thing. I want so badly to keep my streak so I can, flex my pure genius upon my mother every day over text. But I can't do that when I lose. New York Times, fix this problem. Fever is a stupid word anyways. But yeah, that's it from me today. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye now.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode, and we both hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, then feel free to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
What if they didn't enjoy it?
Then they can die alone, I don't know. I'm Chris!
And I'm Milo, spelled M-I-L-O, like that twink from the Disney Atlantis movie everyone forgets exists.